Hey, what is going on, everybody? How are you all doing today? I hope you all are having a wonderful and fantastic day today, and if not, hopefully you all will have a better tomorrow. So today, I wanted to propose a theory to all of you, something I thought was interesting, I've been thinking about for a while, and this theory is, could Qrow have been the reason behind Summer's death? Now, I thought this would be kind of something interesting to talk about, to discuss, and just kind of get into. But anyways, so without further ado, sit back, relax, I hope you all enjoy, and let's go ahead and get this theory started. Now, of course, as we all know, Qrow has always watched over RWBY, and he has taught her in the ways of scythe wielding. As for Qrow himself, he is a master, scythe user, as well as he is a veteran huntsman. And now, what I want to propose here, for one, I just want to say that Qrow could actually secretly be responsible for Summer's death. Now, I just want to point this fact out that I am not saying that Qrow directly killed Summer. Now, that is not what I'm saying. Of course, that would be pretty dark if it were true. Obviously, who knows how RWBY would react to that one if she ever found out. I mean, that would be interesting writing, of course, but no, I don't think that Qrow was the one who killed Summer. So I don't want you all to immediately come to the conclusion that I'm saying, yes, Qrow killed Summer. That's not what I'm saying. But I think that he may be the reason why Summer died. And now let me explain why I actually think this might be a possibility. Now, of course, when it comes to Qrow, we know that Qrow obviously likes to fight on his own, because of his own semblance. And if we look at Misfortune, Misfortune does seem to have some bad things happen to anybody, including himself. But it can also come to his own advantage as well. But he has always told everybody to stay away from him whenever he fights. So he likes to have it one-on-one because if in case something does happen, his semblance would more so be upon himself rather than it would be on his allies. And now, let me bring this part up as well, is that obviously we know that Team Stark, we know that Qrow and Summer were both on the same team at one time. Now, this leads me to think since they were actually fighting for Ozpin, this makes me think that maybe they were on a mission at one time. And depending upon what they were fighting, whether it be huntsmen, whether it be, bandits, whether it be Grim, there's so many different things that could have Qrow and Summer team up together, and then something could have happened, because we know that Summer went off one day and then she never returned. And this could also be that because, they're fighting for Ozpin, this could have meant that they could have been fighting the forces of Salem, and, that could be another thing, and something could have actually gone wrong, and maybe Summer died during the event. Maybe during this mission that if Qrow was with Summer on, maybe this could have led to her death and how she died, and that Qrow could have been responsible. Now, let me exactly explain why I think Qrow could have been responsible. Now, it wouldn't have been him being directly responsible, but it could have been because of his own semblance. Because if you remember, Qrow hates his semblance. That's the one thing that's important. Whenever we look at Qrow's character, when he fights, he hates his semblance. He's even mentioned this, that his semblance is basically the bane of his existence. He despises it. And that, yes, it can come in handy for him, and it can very well assist him and help him, but at the same time, this semblance we have actually seen within Volume 4 itself. When RWBY obviously teamed up with Qrow, we saw that there was a problem here, that this semblance actually almost led to him dying, almost led to him actually being killed. And of course, considering that if you were to look at this, maybe Summer, just like RWBY, maybe she was on a mission with Qrow. Maybe they were on a mission together, and obviously since Tai Yang, obviously stayed at home watching after RWBY and Yang, and then of course if you look at Raven, because she was gone, maybe they were the only two of Team Stark really left to be able to go into battle together. And of course, with Summer's death, obviously Qrow would put RWBY into high regard, because if you think about it, he does care about his niece, he does, look after her, and I don't think that he would want her to die the same way, because misfortune could have actually happened if they had teamed up, Summer and Qrow, and this means that maybe Summer had actually died due to misfortune, that maybe when they were teamed up together against whatever they were fighting, that misfortune just completely turned the flip of a coin. Maybe at one moment misfortune was working for the two of them while they were fighting together, and then maybe at the next, point in the fight, that while things had been going well because Misfortune may have been treating them well, maybe Misfortune then was, looking at them and said, okay, now let's make things go into chaos, because let's put somebody that's good into turmoil rather than somebody that's, opposing them. So, of course, then at that point, that could have meant that Summer could have taken the hit because of misfortune, and maybe that's led Qrow to believe to fight on his own. Because in the past, we don't know a whole lot about how Qrow used to fight prior to, Volume 3 and Volume 4, we don't know if he, how he fought with Team Stark. We don't know if he partnered up with Raven. We don't know if he partnered up with Tai Yang or Summer during their fights. We don't know that far into it. So maybe this is why he fights on his own, and maybe that casualty could have happened to where she could have died. And of course, Ruby being so much like Summer, maybe that's something that weighs on Qrow. Maybe that is something that is on his mind all the time. That maybe he blames himself for her death if his semblance actually took hold, and maybe that's what could have happened. Maybe his semblance was the reason for her death, and considering that that could have been the case, he blames himself, and maybe that's why he looks after Ruby so much as well. And something I have to state here is that in Volume 4, Hazel does make a very interesting statement, and he says that we have dealt with silver-eyed warriors. That's interesting that him as well as Watts, they bring this up to Salem when they're talking, and that's actually a very interesting statement considering that maybe, and I'm not saying this is the case, but maybe she was one of the silver-eyed warriors, Summer was, maybe she was one of them, and that considering that she's obviously dead now, considering that maybe that is what led to her death. Maybe Qrow and Summer fought somebody that was of Salem's forces and could have actually led to her death, and maybe that is why he's such a bad alcoholic, is because maybe this weighs on his mind. Maybe he blames himself for Summer's death if in case it was because of misfortune, and maybe that's why he hates misfortune so much, because we just know that Qrow does dislike misfortune, but we don't know the 100% everything. We just know that, yeah, oh, it's a bad luck charm. But he's never really gone into complete definition other than, yeah, people have gotten hurt, or that I get hurt over it. And we have to look at Raven for a minute, because she also makes the statement about Ruby, and she says that Ruby herself sounds just like her mother, and in Volume 5. And that's something to actually kind of think about, because maybe that weighs on Qrow's mind. Maybe that's something that actually affects him. And of course, since we don't really know and there's no in-depth bit about Summer at all, that kind of makes me think that maybe Qrow's misfortune could have actually led to her death. So let me know what you think down below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments. I love hearing from all of you. But anyways, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. And if you did enjoy, hit the video with a like, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and share this with your friends if you found this informative or useful. Well, anyways, remember, if today was not a good day, tomorrow could always be better. Take care of yourselves and everyone around you, and I hope you all have a good one.